The Profit Experts. Why diasporas of African descent are the poorest diasporas in the world, how to reverse this trend. Success Formula 102, Do. Part 4. A close relative of mine told me about this great book that is a part of her library collection that everyone needs to read before they die. She promised that this book was going to change my life as it had changed so many people's lives. I told everyone around me about this life-changing book that I was going to buy and how after reading it they will see a brand new Romeo. One day in the bookstore I decided to purchase the audio version of the book. Excited, I could not wait to get to my car to insert the CD and start changing my life. I rushed to my car, inserted the CD, and this life-changing CD began to play. Halfway into listening to CD 1, I had still not heard any life-changing information. Good writers give you an opening punchline from the beginning. Here I was in the middle of this supposed life-changing CD and I had not heard anything that would get me excited. I still managed to endure the agony of listening to CD 1 till the end. I endured similar torturing moments listening to CD 2. By the time I was in the middle of CD 3, I had had enough. I almost threw the CD through my car window. The question here now is this: why is this crap CD so popular amongst people, especially diasporas of African descent? Answer: it tells people that they do not have to do anything for success. All that was required was for them to think about it and it would vaporize. There are two things responsible for poverty in Africa and poverty amongst diasporas of African descent. They are religion and New Hollywood. I will address New Hollywood when discussing have. When we had a big client, Ola used to work with me. He was a student at the time. I had to fire him for sleeping on the site, therefore had not seen him for a long time until one Sunday in the city center. He informed me that he had just been released from immigration detention the previous day and that he was completely penniless. He asked if I had a job for him. I said I no longer operated a security company. Even if I did, I could not employ him because of the strict security industry regulations that were introduced. I gave him £20 and promised to have a word with a friend of mine who has a moving business. He was always looking for people. I kept my promise and spoke to this friend, pleading with him to help this stranded guy if he needed a hand. A few days later my friend called Dola to ask if he could help him do some removal in another part of the country where they were to spend the entire weekend and return Monday morning. For his help he was willing to give him £300. Ola agreed. On Friday at the time they were to meet, Ola never showed up. My friend called him and he said he could not go because he had to go to church on Sunday. Remember, this is a guy who could not even afford food to eat. I knew Izzy through one of my staff members. He had worked for me on a few occasions until his badge expired and he did not renew it. He was one of our worst workers who will only work on certain days. He could not work on Sundays because he had to attend church. On Monday he had prayer meeting, on Wednesday he had something in another church, and on Friday he had night vigil at the church. One day I received a call that Izzy needed help. He had been detained on immigration charges and he was going to be sent home if he did not have money to pay a solicitor. My response was, even if they wanted to throw him into a pond filled with starving alligators, I was not going to make any contribution to his release funds. Arthur used to work with me once in a while because he was working full-time with another company. On this day we were to go for an assignment outside of Manchester. On my way to pick him up, I received a text from him saying he could not go because something had happened. What was it? He had to do something for his pastor. This guy has 2 kids. The oldest one could not attend school because they had moved from the area where his school was due to his inability to make rent payments. From the new place he or his wife could not afford bus tickets to take the boy to school on a daily basis, therefore they had to stop him. Yet this guy did not want to go to work because he had to do something for his pastor. These 3 guys typify the average African in diaspora. What does the majority of African in diaspora do on a weekly basis? On Monday morning they show up at their cleaning, security or care job, watches the clock until closing time and rush home as the buzzer sounds. When they arrive back home, they switch on the television, watch the news and later puts on a new Hollywood DVD. Goes to bed at 10 or 11 and repeat the same process the following day and the day after and the day after. On Sunday they go to church, spends 5 to 6 hours praying for the heaven to open and shower them with wealth without them doing anything. That is the daily and weekly do of many Africans in diaspora. It does not matter whether they are in Europe or the United States, many Africans are the same. They do little and expect a lot in return. In order for us to succeed as a people, to be in the position to compete with other diasporas, we will need to do more than just pray for divine intervention. We will need to do some work. The principle of success is this: you have to do things on a daily basis. It is not about what you did yesterday, the week before or what you did last year that matters. It is about what you do every day. Therefore, if you use your day just showing up at work and spending the rest of the day watching television, success will elude you. It is about having game excellence, not excellent game, and never-ending improvement. Or what the Japanese call Kaizen. A good example of a team which has excellent game occasionally is Arsenal FC. On a good day, Arsenal FC can defeat any team. It does not matter whether it is Barcelona or Manchester United. They can make them look ordinary. But those days are few and few between for Arsenal. Manchester United and Barcelona, on the other hand, is what is described as game excellency. Even on days when they lose, they still play better than the other side. These are teams that practice and improve on their acts every single day. Malcolm Gladwell, in his book, Outliers, gave the narrative of what he considered the elements that made success possible for the likes of Bill Gates, Steve Jobs and many other successful people. One of those elements was the concept of 10,000 hours. He explained this to mean that a person would need to clock 10,000 hours of work in his profession in order for him to gain proficiency. 10,000 hours, or an equivalent of working over 30 hours per week for around 10 years. Now, how many Africans in diaspora can honestly say they have reached that 10,000 milestone in their career? Bill Gates reached it, Steve Jobs reached it, Barack Obama reached it. What about you? What is your daily do? Showing up at work? Watching news on your return? Or watching new Hollywood movies? 10,000 hours, my friends, that is the magic formula. By the way, that irritating book was The Secret. Let me tell Africans in diaspora what they do not know about The Secret. It works very well for those with blonde hair and blue eyes. The secret behind The Secret that was not told him. The secret is Africans in diaspora will need to do. What this means is that they will need to take action. Prayer works well if it is backed with hard work. We as a people will need to incorporate spirituality with practicality. Success is not convenience. We cannot do what is comfortable. We need to do what is necessary. Read part 5 next week. Thank you for watching. Join us at http://www.theprophetexperts.co.uk.